Hello there, welcome to Naija Real Estate Diaspora Roadmap. I am Marvelous Alabi. I'll be your trusted guide as we embark on an adventure through the vibrant world of Nigerian real estate. Together, we will explore cities, communities, and countless opportunities that make Nigerian real estate a true gem for our Nigerian family. Whether you're a first-time investor, a professional, or simply interested in staying connected to your heritage and understanding how to acquire property in Nigeria, this podcast is your guide to creating wealth in the real estate sector. We have everything covered from the bustling street of Lagos to the serene shores of Abuja. Our mission is fostering financial growth and sustainable prosperity via real estate. So buckle up. Prepare yourself for a journey filled with knowledge, updates, and trends that will stir up your connection and keep you adequately informed in the world of Nigerian real estate. Are you ready? Let's go! Always insist on proper documentation before any land purchase. That is not just an advice, it is your first line of defense against heartbreak and financial loss in Nigerian real estate. Welcome back to another power-packed episode of the Naija Real Estate Diaspora Roadmap. My name is Marvelous and I am your host on this podcast. Today we are diving into one of the most critical topics every diaspora investor must understand, and it is land documentation. This is your secret weapon to investing smartly, securely, and successfully in Nigeria. Now imagine this. You finally secured that dream plot of land in Nigeria. The one you've worked so hard for while abroad. You're excited. Your family is excited. But months later, you discover it has no valid documentation. Guess what that means? Legally, you don't own that land. And sadly, this is a reality many Nigerians in the diaspora have faced. But not you. Not after today. In this episode, we are pulling back the curtain on all the must-know documents that protect your property rights in Nigeria, from the certificate of occupancy to the survey plan, deed of assignment, Excision, Gazette, governor's consent, and more. By the end of this episode, you won't just know what these documents mean, you'll understand why they matter, when to ask for them, and how to use them to make informed, stress-free investment decisions. If you've ever been confused, misled, or overwhelmed by Nigerian land paperwork, this episode is your moment of clarity. So grab your notepad, lean in, and don't miss a second on today's episode. Your real estate success in Nigeria starts right here. According to Nigeria's 1978 Land Use Act, all land technically belongs to the state government. Yes, that's right, every square inch. And for an individual to legally claim ownership of any portion of that land, it must be backed by the right documentation. Think of it this way. Your paperwork isn't just a formality, it is your ownership. Without it, you're exposed. Without it, your land can be taken not just by the government, but by anyone bold enough to challenge your claim. Let me break it down. If you don't have the proper documentation, the government can legally repossess your land without compensation. And trust me, there's nothing you'll be able to do about it. That land could be cleared overnight for a new road, airport, or housing scheme, and you'll be left with nothing but regret. Now picture this. Imagine buying a car without the engine. It might look nice, you might have the keys, but it's not going anywhere. Land documents are like the engine of your real estate vehicle. You can't move, you can't resell, you can't even truly claim ownership without them. And here's why this is especially critical for you as a diaspora investor. You're not on ground. You can't go and check the property yourself. That makes you more vulnerable. So what do you rely on? Documentation. A verified, legal, and properly registered documentations. Now, here's a reality check. Sometimes the documents themselves are real, but the sellers are not. Yes, it's possible to be given original documents by a person who has no legal right to sell the land in the first place. That's a conversation for another episode, but it happens every day. You've probably heard the horror stories. Nigerians abroad losing millions to fake land titles, or buying a piece of land that already has 3 different owners, or worse, investing in properties that don't even exist. In fact, a recent report revealed that a significant number of overseas Nigerians fall victim to these scams every year, not because they are careless, but because they couldn't verify the documents from afar. And that's why today's episode is not just informative, it's potentially life-saving for your investments. Have you ever paused to ask yourself, what do all these land documents actually mean? Or better yet, how do I even know if this land I'm buying is truly mine? If you've ever had those questions, you're not alone and you're in the right place, because in today's episode, we're going to break it all down for you document by document and show you how to spot red flags before you commit your hard-earned money. So, whether you're about to invest or you've already bought and just want to be sure, stay tuned, because what you'll learn today could save you from heartbreak, legal battles, or massive financial loss. Let's dive in. First up, the Certificate of Occupancy, popularly called the C of O. This right here is the big one. The C of O is like the gold standard of land documentation in Nigeria, the closest thing to saying, yes, this land is legally yours. So, what exactly is it? A certificate of occupancy is a government-issued title deed. It's official proof that the state has granted you the right to occupy and use that specific piece of land for 99 years. This is under Section 9 of the 1978 Land Use Act. Now, let's make this real. Imagine walking into a bank in Nigeria with your C of O in hand. The moment they see that document, they take you seriously. Why? Because the C of O is widely recognized and respected not just by banks, but by lawyers, developers, buyers, and even international investors. And yes, land with a C of O is usually more expensive, but that extra cost, it buys you peace of mind. It tells you this land has been processed by the government. It's less likely to be in dispute. You can develop, sell, or even mortgage it. The document itself includes your name, the plot number, the size of the land, a survey plan, and of course, the official seal and signature from the governor. Now here's a critical insight. You can only have one valid C of O per land. If you're buying land that already has a C of O in someone else's name and you complete the purchase, the document must be transferred to your name through what's called a governor's consent. And don't worry, we'll break that down in a bit. Next up is the survey plan and layout. This is what I called the land's blueprint. If the certificate of occupancy is like your car's engine, then the survey plan is your Google Maps, logbook, and vehicle tracking system all in one. Here's the deal. A survey plan is an official drawing created by a licensed surveyor. It shows exactly where your land begins, ends, and how it sits in the physical world. We're talking about the shape of your land, the size in square meters, the coordinates, the boundary lines, and even the arrow pointing to true north. So no one's arguing about orientation. Let me make it real for you. Imagine you buy a 500 square meters plot of land in Lugbe, Abuja. Without a survey plan, your seller could say, yes, this land is 500 square meters. But after payment, you come back and realize 200 square meters is missing, swallowed by a nearby fence or swallowed by their greed. With a registered survey plan, you can walk confidently into the Surveyor General's office and say, here's my land, verified. And the records will match your plot line for line and coordinate for coordinate. Why is this critical for diaspora investors? Because most of you are not on the ground to eyeball the land. Your eyes on that property is the survey plan. It's your land's birth certificate. No assumptions, no ambiguity, no future surprises. It's also legally essential for registering your land, getting a building permit, subdividing plots, and protecting yourself in case of boundary disputes. There are sellers who will shift pegs, move landmarks, and redraw boundaries after collecting your money. You might end up buying air or half of someone else's land. That's why I say, without a survey plan, you don't own land, you own hope. A registered survey plan is required for obtaining building permits, registering your property, and resolving boundary issues. That means any serious land transaction starts and ends with a valid registered survey plan, not a sketch drawn on tissue paper. Here is my advice. Always ask for a registered survey plan stamped and signed by a licensed surveyor. If it's an estate, ask for the government-approved layout plan. If it's raw land, insist that the seller gets a survey done from the office of the Surveyor General. Remember, a proper layout plan helps you know where your plot is within the estate, not just somewhere behind Block C. Because when it's time to build, resell, or defend your ownership in court, the survey plan will speak louder than your receipt. The bottom line is, don't just buy land. Buy land that can be seen on a map, measured and protected. That's what a survey plan helps you do. Next is deed of assignment versus land agreement, which in essence is sales contract versus title transfer. Let's break down one of the most misunderstood parts of buying land in Nigeria, the difference between a land agreement and a deed of assignment. Here's how to think about it. Buying land is like buying a house in the UK. There's a process, not just one document. It usually starts with a contract of sale or an agreement for sale. This is your initial promise. You make a down payment. The seller agrees to reserve the land for you. It's kind of like saying, I'm serious about buying this land, here's my deposit. But that's just the courtship phase. The real marriage certificate is the deed of assignment, DOA. What exactly is a deed of assignment? It's the official document that transfers ownership of the land from the seller to you permanently. Legal experts describe it as the document that permanently assigns all rights and interest in a landed property from the seller, the assignor, to the buyer, the assignee. This document includes the history of the land, the names of previous owners, the specific plot details, and the date of transfer. Just like in the UK where a title company records the final deed, in Nigeria, your deed of assignment is what gets filed with the land registry. That is what makes you the legal owner in the eyes of the government. Why does this matter so much? Let's say you buy land from a developer who already has a C of O. You might think, well, the land has a certificate of occupancy. I'm good. But you're not until the deed of assignment is signed and registered in your name, you don't legally own that property. Even if you have the survey plan and receipt, the deed of assignment is what makes the government recognize you as the new owner. And listen closely, for those of you in the diaspora, this is where many people get scammed. They think receipts and WhatsApp conversations are enough. No, they are not. Here is a quick process recap. Pay for the land. A lawyer drafts the deed of assignment. Both parties sign it. You pay stamp duties, then it gets registered at the land registry. In many cases, after you register your deed of assignment, you also need to apply for governor's consent, especially when the land has already changed hands before. Why? Because under the Land Use Act, the governor must consent to every new transfer of ownership on titled land, no matter how beautiful the land looks or how nice the seller seems. If the deed of assignment isn't done and registered, you are not the owner. This is as simple as ABC. So next time you're about to buy land in Nigeria, ask yourself, do I just have a promise or do I have proof? Because in real estate, documents don't lie, but people do. The next title we will be talking about is Excision. This is the reclaiming ancestral land from government control. Now let's talk about something uniquely Nigerian. That is the land title called Excision. This one is especially important if you're buying property on the outskirts of town, near villages, or in areas that used to be farmlands, or when you're buying from communities. So what exactly is Excision? Under the 1978 Land Use Act, all land in Nigeria belongs to the government, as we discussed earlier. But that law did not erase the fact that people had lived on the land, farmed on it, and inherited the lands for generations before. So the government created a process called Excision to say, we recognize this community's claim to this portion of land and we are officially giving it back to them. How does Excision work? When a community, family, or group applies for Excision and is granted, the state governor formally releases that land back to them. Once excised, the land is no longer under government acquisition, and the people can legally own, sell, and build on it. Without excision, that land, even if it has been a family land for 100 years, still belongs to the state on paper. So if someone builds on land that has not been excised, it simply means the structure is technically illegal and the government can demolish it without compensation. I've heard of investors who bought so-called family land from trusted locals. They were shown a large area and told it was safe, only to find out later that the land was never excised. The land they bought was not included in the officially excised portion. That means it was still under acquisition and the government could reclaim it, and they eventually did. So, whenever a developer or agent tries to sell you land and says, "This is ancestral or community land," your next question should be, "Is the land excised? Can I see the Gazette or Excision number?" Why this matters for diaspora investors? You're buying land from afar, you need clarity, not assumptions. If the land hasn't been excised, it's still technically government land, no matter what anyone tells you. Always ask to verify the excision status through the State Ministry of Lands or by reviewing the Gazette, which will cover net. If a seller says, "We're working on excision, it will come after you pay," that is a major red flag. Excision must be granted before sale, not after. Otherwise, you're gambling your hard-earned money on empty promises. If it's not excised, it's not yet yours. That's the truth when it comes to land in Nigeria. Next title is called Government Gazette. This is the public proof of excision. Now that you understand what excision is, let's talk about the document that proves it. And the document is called the Government Gazette. And if excision is the act of releasing land, then the Gazette is the receipt that proves it was done officially. Think of the Gazette like the government's public newspaper for land. Just like when you change your surname after marriage and publish it in the papers so it becomes public knowledge, the Gazette publishes all land excisions granted by the state. It includes critical info like the community name, the size of land, the specific boundaries, and sometimes the coordinates. Until a piece of land appears in a government gazette, the excision isn't legally complete. That means even if someone shows you an excision approval letter or community endorsement, it's not enough. No gazette equals no protection. Why this matters for you as a diaspora investor? Many people have bought land believing it was excised, only to later discover it was never published in the gazette. That means, legally, the land still belongs to the government and the transaction can be voided at any time. Or worst case scenario, you could lose your investment with no compensation. A gazette is the only public proof that a land has been excised. Without it, the excision is just a claim, not a fact. So, if a developer says, "This land has been excised," don't stop there. Ask the next question, "Can I see the gazette?" And this isn't just about looking at a random photocopy. You or your lawyer should verify it is a genuine publication, and suing the land falls within the boundaries and it listed. The name of the community matches and the coordinates correspond with what's on the survey plan. You must always ask, is there a gazette notice for this land? If you don't get a clear yes and the document to back it up, it's better to walk away than to risk losing your money. Excision without gazette equals incomplete documentation. Gazette is the public confirmation that the land is now free from government acquisition. Always ask your agent, developer, or lawyer to show and verify the gazette. This is very, very important. Next is governor's consent. This is sealing the deal with the state government. Let's talk about something many Nigerians in the diaspora overlook, but it's one of the most powerful parts of land ownership in Nigeria: governor's consent. This is basically the government's stamp of approval. Under the Land Use Act of 1978, every land transaction, whether it's a sale, lease, or mortgage, needs the written consent of the state governor to be fully legal. Let me break it down. You've signed your deed of assignment. Money has changed hands, and you're thinking, great, the land is mine. But hold on. The governor must approve that transfer before it's fully recognized in the eyes of the law. Why does this matter? Without the governor's consent, even a signed deed of assignment can be challenged in court. Always remember that a deed of assignment is valid but incomplete until it's perfected with the governor's consent. So what's the process? After signing the deed of assignment, you or your lawyer will apply to the State Ministry of Lands. A land committee reviews the documents. If everything checks out, the governor signs off. Once consent is granted, your land ownership is now official and secure. Please don't leave Nigeria thinking your land deal is done if the governor's consent hasn't been processed. Some sellers or developers will say, "Oh, don't worry, we'll do it later." But later may never come. They may flip the land to someone else. Even if you're buying from a real estate company, ask what title the land has. If they say it's under governor's consent, that's a good sign, but always verify it's in progress or it has been completed. If you're buying in rural areas where the land is under customary right of occupancy issued by local government chairman, the process might be different, but for urban lands, estates, and city plots, governor's consent is non-negotiable. You must ensure it has a signed deed that has been registered at land registry with the governor's signature. Please don't skip this. Governor's consent isn't just bureaucracy, it's legal protection. It is what perfects your ownership and makes it unshakable. Before we wrap up today's episode, let's take a look at other essential documents. Some critical steps that you must not miss. We've gone deep on the big land titles such as C of O, Deed of Assignment, Excision, Gazette, Governor's Consent. But before we wrap up, let's go over a few other key documents and steps every diaspora land buyer should know. These don't always get talked about, but they can make or break your investment. First is letter of allocation. If you're buying land from a government agency or real estate developer, they may first give you a letter of allocation. This is like a reservation slip. It temporarily assigns a specific plot to you before they issue a C of O. It's not final title, but it shows you've been allocated that land. So always keep a copy along with any official receipts. Next is your payment receipts. It may sound simple, but payment receipts are gold. Every penny you pay must be officially receipted and acknowledged by the seller or developer. These receipts are required when you want to register your title or apply for governor's consent. And the rule of thumb there is that no receipt, no transaction. Thirdly, land search certificate. This is one of the smartest things you can do. Before you pay for land, ask your lawyer to get a land search certificate from the land registry. This will tell you, is the land under government acquisition? Is there a mortgage, dispute, or legal issue on the land? It's like running a background check before getting married. Next is power of attorney, POA. If you are abroad and cannot attend signings, you may give a power of attorney to a trusted family member or lawyer. But please make sure it's professionally drafted, notarized, and very clear. And don't go totally hands off. Join virtual calls, get photos, videos, ask for scans of every signed document. Another thing to note is customary right of occupancy, CRO. In rural communities, especially in villages, land may be under customary title, not a C of O. This means the local government, not the state, oversees the land. You likely get a customary right of occupancy issued by the local government chairman. It's legal, but still get a survey plan and check it doesn't overlap with communal land. The final one is C of O. Sometimes you buy land under a letter of allocation and then the developer applies for a C of O on behalf of all buyers. That's okay. But make sure the final C of O is eventually transferred to your name via a deed of assignment and get governor's consent as the final step. These are the essential document checklists that we have spoken about in today's episode. Certificate of occupancy, C of O. See it, verify it, and confirm it's valid. In Abuja, this is called an R of O, right of occupancy. But every other part of Nigeria is the same. Survey plan. Check dimensions and boundaries and ensure it must be registered and point to true north. Deed of assignment. Ensure it's signed, stamped, and ready for governor's consent. Excision and Gazette. If it's excise land, ask for the Gazette. No Gazette, no title, governor's consent. You must verify if it's done or in progress. Without it, your title isn't perfected. Receipts, search, and POA. Always keep original receipts. Run a land search and use POA carefully if you're abroad. Buying land in Nigeria from abroad doesn't have to be risky if you're informed. When you understand the documents and you ask the right questions and involve legal experts, you protect your money and secure your future. I know this has been a lot. Please go over the episode again if you need to. But remember, knowledge is power. Always seek to know more. As a Nigerian investor, your investment will bring about urban development and generational wealth creation. When done right, you're not just buying land, you're building your family's future. You're participating in Nigeria's growth story. Yes, it may take patience, sometimes months, to get approvals, but that time is nothing compared to the heartbreak of losing everything due to lack of due diligence. The pride you'll feel when your name is officially on that land title with every document in place is truly priceless. And here's the good news. You're not alone anymore. We are here for you. You don't have to do your land registration or look for genuine land with right title to buy, or search for the right location based on your budget and get a flexible payment plan for your investment. We are here to give you these services right from our platform. We have helped many and we are willing to also serve you and answer your hard questions, provide you with professional help and support, help you to double check everything before investment. To access these services, kindly join our Real Estate Diaspora Investment Group where we share, learn, and grow together. If you need help with anything land or real estate back home, please reach out to us and we can guide you every step of the way. That wraps up this deep dive on land documentation in Nigeria. If you found this helpful, please share it with fellow Nigerians abroad. Subscribe to the Niger Real Estate Diaspora Roadmap podcast on your favorite platform. Follow us on YouTube and all major social media channels for more value-packed content. My name is Marvelous and I remain your host. Until next time, invest wisely. Thank you for joining us on today's episode. Remember to keep your compass pointed towards Nigeria Real Estate Diaspora Roadmap. Please take a moment to leave an honest review of our podcast on your preferred platform. This would definitely help us improve. Follow us at AmSwap Homes on all social media. Visit our website at www.amswaphomes.com. As we wrap up today's episode, remember that your journey towards Nigeria real estate investment starts with that first step taken by you. Keep investing, keep exploring, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.